All right, here we go. All right, hello world. It is I, the flamboyant one, Jason Crow, and we are back with some new heat magnets coming at you. Here I am, that's my face. And I am joined today with my co-host, the handsome one. I call him Handsome Johnny Spade. There he is, right there.
There he is. Hello, world. There's Jason Crow.
Here we are. We have a special guest. This is our brand new first episode of the Heat Magnets. We're coming to you after WrestleMania, and we figured we'd come to you with our special guest, also a once professional wrestler, rock star Ronnie Jonah. There she is.
Oh, you didn't have to tell people that. I'm just kidding.
That's the rock star Ronnie Jonah. They were both her and Johnny were both professional wrestlers at once upon a time. Myself, not so much, which is I would have rather been a manager. So here we are.
You would be a great manager.
That would have been that would have been epic.
Yeah. But we're here. We're back. Johnny Spade, you want to tell people a little bit about yourself, kind of let them know who you are, and then we'll go into the wrestling.
Sure. Started wrestling in 1999. Wrestled with the best. I mean, you name it, I've been around. Danny Davis trained me straight up. It wasn't a trained by OVW by someone else who was hired by them. I was a direct product of him himself when he owned the company. I've tagged with the likes of Chris Canyon, John Heidenreich, Sylvester Turkai. Tag titles with now one of the Outrunners, Shiloh Jones, who's also Truth Magnum.
Nice.
Many titles I've held, including the heavyweight, I think would be the most prestigious a couple times at Ohio Valley. For the most part, I feel like I'm decently liked, but you're always not liked by all. I'm here to have a good time, and maybe not a long time. We'll see.
And so we're
time,
back. Long time. So we're bringing the show back. This is our trial run. We've still got a lot of technical issues to work out and new setups to purchase for ourselves. But we figured there's no better time to start than after WrestleMania. That's when the whole wrestling world resets basically, and they start a new year. And so we wanted to talk about WrestleMania 39, and as we head into tonight's Monday Night Raw, which obviously Monday Night Raw after any pay-per-view is always very interesting, and especially after WrestleMania. So let's get into it. Let's talk about a little bit about WrestleMania. First, it was 2 nights. It was 2 nights. It was pretty long. I enjoyed the 2-night thing. Or how do you all feel about how they've expanded it over the years to a 2-night spectacle?
Go ahead, Ronnie, if you want.
Well, I haven't watched. It's only been the last couple of years that I've been back to watching. I didn't watch for a long time, and so I don't know. I don't really remember. I think it's a lot of fun that there's 2 nights of it. I think it's twice as fun.
I want to point out Ronnie's shirt there. She's a Logan Paul mark. So, the Maverick, Logan Paul. And we'll talk about that a little later. I enjoy the 2 nights. Because it is, WrestleMania has always been a big event, and now they've made it even a bigger spectacle, and everybody gets their kind of moment, which I think is a lot of fun.
Sure. You've got to look at it from the business aspect as well. If you're doubling your crowd and your gate money, on top of it being a week-long event, you're giving more of a stage to a lot of people who otherwise might not get that stage. And they could steal the show and never would have originally had the opportunity to do that. So that's a big deal. I think. Say that again.
It's fun, right? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like NXT kind of kicked everything off with their Stand and Deliver.
Right.
I don't know if y'all got to watch that, but there were some really good matches on there that I enjoyed. A lot of fun moments. My girl Indy Hartwell, she won the.
Yeah, I like Indy.
I wish they would have played it later, though. That was just too.
It was early.
Her Sam, which is her boyfriend, or I guess other husband on the show, he used to sleep on our couch when he was in town. He's a good guy.
Oh, really, Dexter?
Yeah, Dexter Loomis.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here because you all have like experience with a lot of these people that are in the industry right now, and I think that's going to be fun to hear inside stories.
Exceptionally inside strong. When I first worked him, God, I went to chopping, hurt my hand, and I think he drop kicked me, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I thought, did you? We look like the same size, but that is not the case at all. He is secretly stronger than you would ever believe. And I'm glad he's given this opportunity.
Dexter looks like a pretty stout guy, and he had his moment carrying Indy up the ladder. But yeah, so let's get into. Oh, hey, Jed is on there. He says, "Hey guys." So let's get into WrestleMania 39. I had a lot of fun with it. We kicked off with Austin Theory versus the returning John Cena, and there's been a lot of comments about Cena in his appearance on WrestleMania 39. What did y'all think?
I thought he was amazing as ever.
I thought he was. He's 6 months younger than me, so I love him. He looks fantastic.
Yeah,
he's got other things going on. He hasn't been in the ring but twice this year.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
for sure.
He didn't have to come back by any means. Like he could have easily stayed home and been making movies, making TV shows or whatever. And I was happy to see him back. Happy to see him back. He put on a good show, as Cena always does. And he
always.
Austin Theory. So what do you think about Austin Theory? Do you think he is the future Johnny Austin? He seems to think he is. I know he has all the tools, but where does he go from here?
He looks great. He looks fantastic. He's young. He's athletic. I think he's got a little ways to go charisma-wise, and I think working John Cena might give him a little confidence. John putting him over. He's got to put in some more work. I don't think he has that it factor yet. That's just my opinion. And we're talking real here, so I'm going to shoot to the hip.
Shoot from the hip.
I'm waiting for him to break through. And I think John was supposed to be a part of helping him elevate his game. I don't think he's there yet, but that's me.
No, I agree. I think he's a good-looking guy. He's a well-built guy. He can go in the ring.
He'll be just fine.
Yeah, and he's just got to find that right.
The ladies love him. There you go.
I mean, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah,
he's easy. He's a handsome man.
I mean, but everyone is. All of them are. So you got to be more.
He's got that heel beard because he used to be like a clean-shaven kind of guy, but he grew the beard out. And I just don't know where he goes from here. Like it's so easy to get caught in. I'm the guy that beat John Cena, and then where do you go from that? Like he's really got to find a foothold here and push himself up. I think.
I think if he can
do it,
if he can maintain that belt and make it prestigious, keep it for a long period, like the Usos, and he's nowhere on their level, obviously. But if he can make that something and keep winning, there's going to come a time where when he starts working people, it's a big deal because they're going to want him to get dethroned. And the more he can make that prestigious and mean something, the bigger he'll be to the value with the belt.
Yeah, and he's definitely a guy that people are going to love to hate. He definitely can play that character. People already dislike him as it is, so we'll see where he goes from here. The match was
he's a good guy. I've heard stories about him in the back. Randy made a statement about him and said. And Randy Orton, for those of you that don't know, I used to live with Randy Orton, and he, we keep up. I haven't spoke to him in a while, but he's always still hit me up. I probably, when he's stoned, I don't know, but no, I'm joking.
Let's hear some gossip. Yeah, spill it.
But anyway, he mentioned that when Austin Theory first got called up, he was doing the spinning RKO gimmick, but it was what Mark Merrill used to do.
Oh yeah.
And he went up to Randy and asked him and introduced himself and asked him for his approval, was respectful. Normally people are scared to talk to Randy. Takes him a month to even walk up and say hi to him.
Aww.
So I thought that was an endearment. He was recognized in the locker room for being just a good kid. So I do wish nothing but the best for him, but yeah, there you go. It's from
I mean, being liked in the locker room gets you pretty far. So
it is a big deal. Your peers have to love you for sure.
Yeah. Mike says, my friend Mike Webb there, he says, who hasn't been in recent years? And I guess that's true, but I mean, Cena comes in and he's not easy on anyone. Like, I mean, he put Theory, and like he did with Roman and like he did with others, he put them through the test on the mic for sure. And he's done it several times. So Cena doesn't have to win, obviously, but he definitely puts the new guys through. He gives them the test. So.
If he didn't like him, he would have shut that down real quick. He wouldn't have put him up.
That's what I figured too. There's no way he would have stepped in the ring with him. He didn't think it was a possible future. And then we kind of moved on after that match. We moved on to the men's tag team showcase, which was Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. And it's nice that they got everybody on the show and they got a good paycheck and they got a WrestleMania moment. Where did you guys see this going? I think Street Profits needed the win. I think they are obviously probably the best, most gelled tag team other than maybe the Viking Raiders.
Those who I choose.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking they might put the Viking Raiders through this, and maybe Street Profits would go on a losing streak and maybe get with MVP or whatever. But how did you feel about that? It was pretty average to me. It's entertaining, but
it was quick and to the point. There was two things that stood out to me. I believe what's his shush? Chad Gable's going to be getting a push. Yeah. What he did to Braun Strowman was incredible.
That dude,
the roll through German.
That guy's amazing.
That's incredible.
Absolutely one of the best wrestlers on the roster. Has to be.
And the other thing that stood out was them putting over the other Street Profit, not Montez Ford. What's the other guy's name?
Oh, Dawkins.
Dawkins, yeah. Yeah, Dawkins.
Absolutely. I popped so hard for that.
Yeah, that was incredible.
And he didn't hold back. He threw it in there.
Oh, yeah, he did. He's an ex-D1 football player. But for him to talk to Braun, him to go through it, I don't know who put that out there, but that was a big deal. Like, you don't just run through Braun like that.
Absolutely not. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody, especially maybe the size of Dawkins, hit Braun so hard and knock him down so legitimately. You know what I mean? It was like
that wasn't a self.
When I watched that, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like he nailed it.
That was a coexisted. You're going to bump regardless. That bump is when you get hit. When you get hit that hard, sometimes I like it because the impact of the bump is easier. It's flat back, but he trucked him so good, and that's hard to do with a man that size. I mean, it was that had to be put over and talked about in the back for the work he's been putting in because he's transformed his body. He took his game from where Montez Ford was going, and people were talking about him and said, "Hey, wait about me. Wait a second, I'm here." And this past year,
I think that's what I enjoy. Yeah, I think that's what I liked is because it's been about Montez.
Correct.
And Ronnie's seen it. She's been because she only watches the pay-per-views, but she's kind of only seen
mostly
Montez more than Dawkins. So I was excited that he got that moment, and he got that moment at WrestleMania on a guy at the side of Braun. And then they got the win.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, they did. When they split, I want to see where they go individually. We kind of know what they're going to do with Montez. He's going to get a push. But I want to see what they do with Dawkins, what character he gets, how he gets elevated in this next push when they decide to go their separate ways.
Yeah. Well, and Montez is very much like a Theory guy. He has the looks, he has the build, he has the athleticism, everything it takes the charisma to be a top guy. So I'm curious to see where they go. But I'm kind of rooting for Dawkins because he is the underdog, and he's kind of the Marty Jannetty, I guess, of this. You know, so.
And that's even sad to say, because the way we determine that is, you think about him being not going anywhere after that, but I could see him doing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think after that moment, it woke people up, and that was because when he hit him, like he got hype about it too. Like he didn't.
Oh yeah.
And I think that sold it quite a bit.
I like to see him do kind of like Matt Hardy. When they split up, they were able to coexist, both of them, in their own separate ways.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him be able to do that as well.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with them from this point moving forward. So they got the win. Obviously, they are now contenders to, go against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, who obviously won. So that could be a good match. That could be a moment where the Prophet.
That sounds exciting.
I don't know. And then, so after that, we had the Becky Lynch, Lita, Trish Stratus versus Damage Control. What did you guys think about that match?
It was fine.
She's rooting for him. I was too. I didn't like it.
No, it was. We knew
it was a great match on SmackDown. It was a terrible match for Mania.
Yeah,
there were so many better matches. Yes.
Yeah, was it bad? No. Was it the lower tier that night or overall?
It was fine.
And that's pretty rough to say because obviously Becky Lynch, headlined WrestleMania just a few years back. Bayley is all of them are great wrestlers. I don't say anybody's.
I was thinking Trish for some reason was going to do a swerve and let Damage.
That's what I thought. I absolutely thought the same thing.
It would have made sense to see Lita and Trish one more time before they retire. They're trying to give their last year run, and they well deserved. I mean, they're icons in wrestling. Period. But I didn't enjoy this enough. And at the end of the day, they're my age. And I know I couldn't do that right now. Who knows? Maybe if it wasn't for this crazy disease. But I wouldn't feel good about it. It's not 10 years ago.
Well, are any of them told, okay, do not steal the show? So maybe, they weren't out there to be, the best they can be?
I'm sure
they're there to put on an okay match that was just fine.
Yeah, I'm sure they got shot down with a lot of ideas to not take away from other matches. That's a possibility. Although I do know Trish and Lita are good friends with Triple H, and they want to go out on top. So we want to believe that's the case. They don't get as much time. They don't get as much time in that match for sure. So everything they're putting in's got to be quick, to the point. Here's some spots here and there. No one's really going to shine out anybody. So I understand where you're coming from. They're not a mainstay on that card that night.
So where does Damage Control go from here? Because they've pretty much been on loss after loss after loss with all of this. Do they take Bayley, who obviously has done it all at this point? Do they move her forward to be somebody to go against Rhea and then just let
I would hope so.
Io and Dakota?
That'd be good. I like Bayley.
Certainly can.
Yeah, I mean they all are great and they all can definitely find their way, but can they and will they? It's a whole different story.
I don't want Io Sky and Dakota Kai to be a lost cause. I think they're good. I think they're good for the division.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the women's division needs them. I think especially if they continue to build that. I don't know if they're going to continue building the tag team because it seems like they kind of push that to the side. Afterthought. The tag team women's division. If they just kind of disband that and push people to the main belt.
That's too bad. I like that.
I mean, who knows? Who knows what happens? Io is very popular with the fans, especially as a singles competitor.
I'm a fan for sure.
I think, and Dakota is as well, but I think Io has the possibility to really stand out. Personally, in my opinion.
I could see her and Oscar running a thing, especially if they do a tour in Japan.
Yeah.
And man, they could really have a hell of a pay-per-view match.
And I think that's the other variables that maybe people are putting together, especially with how WrestleMania ended, the business side of it. So, if they do tour Japan, like what's going to sell tickets? That's the thing that's going to sell tickets. With the merger of Endeavor with WWE now, like, did they say at the end of WrestleMania, hey, if we're going to merge with you and make this a $21 billion company, we want Roman as champ because he's proven himself.
I can see that happening.
One of the face as a company. Like, could that have been something that really may have changed the whole trajectory of what Cody was doing? Like, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Regardless, you could not put the belt on Cody. Moving into a new company with the guy that's putting the most butts in the seats, that new company, when they found out that was bought, there's no way you're putting the belt, changing it. They've got to keep what they're investing in at that moment. Roman was going to keep that title. And the people that are upset about that, you got to look at it from that aspect. This guy's been a proven seat filler, and that's what they're investing in. They're not going to change that direction.
No, it's business, for sure.
It's no bad take, Cody. He might win the title this year, but it just wasn't the right time, especially with the change.
Maybe they wanted him to find a little bit more adversity, and maybe they'll push it through SummerSlam.
Yeah, right.
And I think again that could be, let's see how the business is doing, dude, and we'll Endeavor want Roman to have it or Cody to have it. We'll see. Cody's over with the fans, like they definitely were into the match for sure. So
it was good.
But can he stay there?
It was a good story. Yeah. Well, I think leading up to it, I was disappointed by the way Cody was handling the promos leading up to it, and he wasn't building as well as I thought. But then when the match took place, he delivered.
Yeah, the match definitely. They had the psychology there. They started, with just I guess what JBL will call holds. They were doing some holds, and it moved on from there. So we'll get to that match. We'll talk about that one here in a little bit.
We've got a long way to go to get there.
Yeah. We'll move through some of these a little faster because I know people are going to want to get to Raw. But there was Ray and Dominic after, the Becky Lynch match. I wanted Dom to go over.
I wanted him too. Yeah, that was my choice.
It was a good time to really get him over because he's got the heat. Like people really love to boo him, so that would have pissed people off, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I thought his dad was going to build him up, but then he was probably doing. His dad just got inducted in the Hall of Fame. And
that's what I was guessing too. Yeah.
He was like, "Nah, pops, you know what I mean? This is your time. You're leaving." And Dom, he could be up for top 3 or 4 wrestlers of the year this past year.
I think so. I think he's come a long way because he was very I guess he had nowhere to go until he went to the Judgment Day. And I think that's when Ronnie started noticing.
That's when I started watching again, yeah.
I think Ronnie can attest to this. When you first get into business, he was doing what he's told. He's doing his job. He's happy to be there. He's making his way and waiting for that opportunity. And what's that opportunity to turn heel and take the storyline?
He just grabbed it and
he took off, man.
Mm-hmm.
He shot like a rocket, and I got to give him props. Once it's your time, it's to shine. It's hit or miss. If they won't give you the ball again, if you don't run with it.
Yeah, he definitely embraced it. I like that he embraced like the Eddie Guerrero side of it. It really kind of took that ball and ran with it because his promos before that pretty lackluster, but I think he really started getting interested in what he was doing when he joined the Judgment Day, and I think that goes a long way. I don't know. You all were in the business. Is it easier when it's something that you yourself are interested in? Or
oh yeah,
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's invested, but his vignettes were taken off too. He might not have been great on the mic at first in front of the crowd, But when behind that camera with the vignettes and with him and mommy and the whole, I mean, he was, yeah, they were. It was a great TV, man.
Yeah.
And he's gotten better, and this is only going to make him that much better from here on. Every time he's on the microphone.
Yeah, I agree. I think sky's the limit for him. Now I know Ronnie is a big fan of Rhea, and then with the Dom bit, how do you feel?
How could you not be?
How could you not be? The whole team, though, is what got me back into watching wrestling. You know, like, I mean, you guys have probably watched it since you were kids. I was older when I got into it, but it's kind of like you watch it, you get connected with one thing, and then you watch it for that, and then, you know, you get kind of interested in other things. I haven't watched it in a million years, but it was Rhea and the Judgment Day and all of the women, and I was like, okay, I'm here again.
And then another story grabs you, and then another one grabs you.
And then you're like, okay, I kind of care about that. I kind of care about Logan Paul. Like, here I am.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what a draw does. That's the difference between a draw and other people on the card. You got the person to draw you in, and then the rest just kind of trickles in with it. It's like adding sprinkles to an ice cream or a little bit of hot fudge, you know?
Like the Judgment Day, and I was like instantly hooked back in after
exactly.
I thought WrestleMania was going to be like the Judgment Day's day. Like I thought they were going to go 3-0. I thought Finn was going to beat Edge.
Oh man, that would have been amazing.
Charlotte and Dom beat Ray, and just put that faction over because they are over. Like enjoy them, and like for instance, Ronnie back. So.
And what got me back into
they didn't get at least 2 out of 3, but I'm happy for Rhea, obviously, but I don't know. We'll see what the future holds for them. But then we moved on to the Seth versus Logan, which I think we all knew how this was going to turn out, right?
I did not.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
It's not how I wanted it to turn out.
Well, I mean, Ronnie, where so what appeals you to Logan Paul? Since most people
just like, okay, so I was kind of a casual pay-per-view watcher, and that's because of the women. Like a few years ago, when like Bianca was going to headline, I was like, wait, a woman is going to headline? I'm here for that, and then that got me back into the pay-per-views. But anyway, when he showed up, it was like, okay, well, who is this guy? What is this? But then I think it took like 30 seconds of just watching him move to be like, oh, he's really good. That's really annoying. I hate that. Follow on Instagram. But then every appearance was just so compelling that I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna pretend not to be a fan.
Right. And what about you, Spade? Like, considering, I mean, you were in the ring, and then this guy like that just comes in, and I mean, he's immediately main eventing things, like main eventing with Roman, main eventing with Seth, and then Royal Rumble. Like, how do you feel?
I had a lot in common with him. So I can attest to Logan Paul. He picked it up real quick, which is so rare.
He's just so good. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but he moves.
He had 2 practices before his first match.
Shut up.
Yes. It's that
he moves like a gazelle and like so fluid and so precise. Like people train their whole lives.
You don't put a guy like that. You don't put a guy like that in the main event with Roman Reigns.
Unless
ground rule.
And that's what I said. He reminds me. I'm not saying he reminds me of me because the dude's making money. When I first started, if I had ever wrestled before, and I said no, this is my first practice, and because he thought he
like this.
And then 3 months later, I'm on cards. 2 weeks after that, I'm on a Tuesday night Louisville Garden show. I've been doing it for 4 months, and I was only doing Saturday classes. So I can understand that some people, Randy Orton, but his dad was a wrestler, just picked it up like that. And some people just don't have to put as much work in as other people. But kudos to him, man. He's an athlete. He's got a following. He's a millionaire. He's a hard worker. I mean, what else can you say about the guy?
Yeah,
he's a great heel.
Yeah, you don't get any of that stuff without working, putting the work in.
Ronnie, I think he can work too.
You what?
I think he can work babyface too. That's what's crazy.
I'm sure he can. Once people realize that he really is as good as his personality, shows.
If he wasn't an outsider, man, I'm telling you, he could get the crowd behind him if they work.
He will be able to.
Well, and Seth picked up the win, which as it should be.
I guess.
So, do you think Seth finally just moves on and is now in the title picture against?
I would hope so. I would think so.
Eventually, against him, I think Cody's still going to have some time, but at least against in the championship picture, it seems like that's where Seth is headed at this point.
Seth will always stay at the top. He'll rotate when it's his turn, and he's not going anywhere. He's one of the best workers they've got.
He's so over always.
Yes.
For as long as he's been there. So I think if they decide to split the belts instead of like Roman losing them, I think maybe they Seth is the candidate on whatever brand, and Cody eventually on the other brand probably. Whenever Roman decides he wants to take a vacation. So.
Yes, absolutely.
And then, of course, after that, we had Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, which to me was the show stealer of the night.
Clearly.
I think the right person won, but it didn't come easy. Because I love Charlotte. I personally, and I get heat for this for some reason, but I personally think that Charlotte Flair is the best female professional.
I agree. 100%. Yeah.
Charlotte Flair doesn't have bad matches. I mean, the girl.
No, she's best of all time for sure.
That was the best match both nights by far.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that match. I think Rhea needed it. I think Rhea, if you're only going to give one to the Judgment Day, that was the one to give. And now
they all should have gotten it, but yeah,
time for her to really kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it had emotion. It was hard hitting. It was athletic. It told a story. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just, not to mention, I mean, they're just two beautiful chicks. So, I mean, you could not go wrong with that match.
No, not at all. And Ronnie, like that, because Rhea has transcended wrestling. The people that don't even know about Rhea. So, like, what was the draw to you? Because he was a big part of what brought you back. Like, is it just, like, what is it about Rhea Ripley that people were just...
Well, I want to be respectful, but...
yeah, I get it.
She's freaking compelling and hot and talented, and
she's your mom.
She's my mommy. What do you want?
Yeah. He's muscular yet just perfectly feminine at the same time.
Yes.
He is hot.
Respectfully, just I love you.
Yeah,
I think she has the opportunity to transcend and even like wrestle men if they decide that they're going to do that again. In a very China kind of way.
I'd wrestle Mommy in a heartbeat. I'd come out of retirement blind right now if I could wrestle her.
I'm happy for her. I'm curious to see where they go from here, though. I think that's the hard part. Like building the story to get the title. It's cool. That's great. It's a great story, but it's what you do afterwards. Like, can you?
Yeah, I'm interested to see tonight or Friday what they do with her as well, and Dominic, especially with her winning the title, because I think Triple H stated that she's getting on the level of Roman, and
I was just gonna say that she's one of the biggest stars of the whole everything. Yeah. So
I just don't see her not making an appearance tonight, even though she's SmackDown champion. Because it's the crowd is invested. It's the Mark crowd. It's the rowdy crowd. You got to bring out your draws.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that will most likely happen. Then we had the main event, which was the Usos, the Bloodline versus Sami and Kevin. Like Usos, I think, absolutely top 5, one of the best tag teams in the history of wrestling. I believe, my personal opinion.
Sure.
And then, great storyline going into it, great build. I think it ended how we thought it would end, though, right? Like, do we have any doubt?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was well done. They told a great story. It was an emotional story by the end of it. I mean, the wrestlers were crying. I mean, it was just a culmination of everything that built up, ending that way. It was beautifully done, I thought.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole Bloodline story, and I think there's a lot of room to grow from that. You know, Sammy and Kevin will probably carry the titles for I'm assuming several months, and then maybe they do a split, and maybe they get a main event or something at WrestleMania.
That would be great.
We'll see how that goes. But
Sammy's got a singles run for sure. Sammy still got that. He's still got the momentum behind him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities. I'm looking forward to that. And then we moved on to night 2. You had Brock versus Omos. Obviously, we knew that was a 5-minute match. It was all about could Brock live Omos, right?
Just to remind us all who the fuck Brock Lesnar is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing there. It was a 5-minute match. It did what they needed to do with it, and that was it.
Yeah, shouldn't even been on the card.
Yeah, I don't think I really cared one way or the other. You know what I mean? Like it could have been better for Brock and Lashley. I don't know why they didn't save that till Mania, since they were building that all the way. But
unless
it is what it is.
Unless you're building Omos, what's the point in that match?
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand. Is you know, almost obviously he's new, but there's opportunities in
yes, and it was just nah.
Yeah, you know that. And then the women's showcase, that was also, you know, Ronda and Shayna versus Liv and Raquel and Natty and Shotzi and Chelsea
and for Ronda Rousey.
Yeah,
didn't come in the whole match, just comes in at the very end to put the armbar and gets paid probably $600,000 that night.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. I've not been ever since she's come in a Ronda fan. You know, no disrespect, but she doesn't do anything for me. She's not.
I wish sometimes she would give a shit a little more, but
right.
I think
that's my problem. I don't think she cares.
I think she's hot. God, she's hot. She's a gorgeous chick to me. Plus, she just had a baby, so she's got that hot mom thing going. I dig some Ronda for sure.
You're like a hot mom. I
mean, no one's questioning her hotness.
It's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of Ronda or like mom. Well, I mean, I just say it. We all think it. I'll just fucking say
it. I'm just saying it's not in question. Like,
right.
I mean, I'm not going to Shayna Baszler. I think Shayna. I don't know if she had an ankle injury after that. I know her boot was on, but I think she has always a good run. So.
I thought she might have been injured, and that's why she stayed away from it until the very end.
Oh, yeah.
And now let's talk about what was probably the match of the night. I think it was my favorite match. It was the match I was looking most forward to, which was the IC title, Gunther versus Drew. Versus
that was really fun.
It was absolutely what we thought it was going to be. It was just a slap fest, you know.
Oh, boy, yeah.
It was stiff, for sure. And I enjoyed every minute of it. I think they gave us exactly what they said they were going to. So, and I think the right person won.
Mark Henry's told me that Sheamus is one of the hardest hitting. That he would have bruises. It would be hard for him to get out of bed the next day.
Oh my God.
We're talking about the world's strongest man. And he was like, Spade, I just couldn't when I was in the ring with him. It was like, how long is this tour? Can we get this over with?
Oh, no.
I mean, the crowd was absolutely behind Sheamus.
Sheamus just goes to war.
Yeah.
Drew matched their intensity. Gunther was like he's reminiscent of Sheamus.
Yeah, well, and especially Gunther when he was, on the indie scene and the UK scene. Obviously, a bigger guy at that point. He's obviously trimmed down.
And how he gotten himself, by the way.
Yeah, and then and chops were like his big thing.
Yeah,
man, Drew, he was not having it. He's like, I'm gonna one up you, and Drew his chops.
He wasn't backing down. Yeah, he was going.
Oh man, they were brutal.
I mean, I feel like you have to do that. I would do that, even as bad as it hurt. I mean, you're in that moment. You can sell, but in a WrestleMania, you could sell enough to give it right back because at the end of the day, you're not doing this every night.
Right.
You got they put on a banger, You definitely can't have matches like that on your average everyday shows. But WrestleMania, man, they're I don't know how they're getting up for the next week, but kudos.
It's banger after banger after banger.
Yeah. And they put on a banger. It was the second best match of the weekend.
Yeah, I think so. I think Rhea and Charlotte stole the show for the entire WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
And there were other great matches, but I would put that, and I'll put the IC title, and then then after the IC title, I think we had was it Edge and Finn?
Is that next?
They were.
Yeah, that was Edge and Finn.
I don't have it in front of me, but that sounds about right. If that's it, which I know we're running out of time here soon, but we've got that in the main event. I know those two were coming up.
And Bianca.
Oh, the Bianca. Bianca was the next, I think, because the
last. Let's not forget about that.
I think the Hell in the Cell was the second to last.
Okay, yeah. So like Bianca and Asuka, I was kind of surprised that Bianca's absolutely my favorite female wrestler right now. I love Bianca. I've loved her since NXT, and I wanted her to win. I just didn't think she was going to win.
I wanted them both to win. That was really hard.
That was 50-50. It could have gone
out of the way for sure.
I didn't want to see either of them lose, I guess.
Like I like Bianca's now 3-0, and they weren't putting it over, but they finally posted on Instagram WWE that Bianca 3-0.
They're both certified.
I like that. That's fun.
For sure.
They're not going anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm stoked for her. And I think I like it more because when she came over to the main roster, what's his name, Pete Rosenberg or whatever, he said she wasn't ready, she wasn't good enough. Like, he really gave her a hard time, and boy, did she prove him wrong. Like, three WrestleManias.
Yeah.
Come on.
You know, I wonder if they took that home early because Asuka's gear was ripping.
Maybe. And Bianca
it was still good.
Sure, yeah.
It wasn't a bad match, but I thought maybe they rushed that ending, or they went right into it just because of the gear kept getting worse.
I thought maybe they would also steal the show, but it was still really good, of course.
I think Bianca's got the ability to steal the show, well, especially with Asuka. But she has good matches, but she's not on that level of flair just yet.
Yeah,
when it comes to in-ring work.
Yeah, I don't know what's missing in that aspect, because I think I love her. I love her matches. I thought that was a great match. I thought she did some amazing things, but there is just that one little thing that I don't know what it is.
Time. I think it's time.
Yeah. Could be. And well, speaking of time, like Edge, who's been there, left, came back versus Finn in the Hell in the Cell. Obviously, the big spot with the ladder and the gash. I don't know if you also remember that online.
A hatchet wound in his head.
You know, they stapled that right there in the ring.
Yeah, right there, right as the match is going on. And boy, shout out to the cut man or the cut person.
The women.
I think it was women out there. And because after they got done, I didn't believe. Like that was amazing to me, especially after seeing it afterwards. How big that was. Oh, Lord. So with that happening, because I thought Finn should have won. Edge doesn't need to win. Edge is Edge
for sure.
And Finn is Finn as well, but I think he could have used that momentum and pushed him further into the scene. But I don't think after that gash and after everything that happened, I think people were like, "Oh man, that guy's legit for sure."
It might have been done for card purposes. I mean, they're on semi-main, and you've got Roman winning main. Let's send him home with the match before that a little happier for the baby faces. I don't know. I could see Finn Balor supposedly going over, but I personally have won and or not won when it didn't mean something, but it meant something on the card. Yeah. So you never know.
Yeah, and I guess that's probably what it came down to. I'm not sure about the color-coded kendo sticks and chairs and tables and all that.
That was fun.
That was weird. It was fun,
it's
but I was like,
table. It's a red table.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
That was fun.
Well, and before we get into the main event, let's talk about Shane McMahon.
Oh God!
Poor Shane. Here comes the money. Crowd pop like they always do. What's that?
Was that karma though?
Maybe because how he booked like the Rumble and all that, like the people were not happy with how he came in and then left.
I mean, you could have put anybody in that spot. Anybody. LA Knight. Anybody.
They could have been Lashley, because Lashley, like he lost out to the match with Bray Wyatt, because Bray, I don't know what happened with Bray. I don't want to speculate, but they could have had Lashley come out, and
I just don't think he needed to be there, and he got hurt. And I don't wish nobody to get hurt, and I feel bad for him, and I hope he has a speedy recovery. But man, you shouldn't have been there to begin with. Should have been somebody else in that spot to put over. You just wanted your cheap pop to say hello in front of your kids again, or whatever the case, and then you got injured. I mean, I hope he gets well. But Snoop, though, stepping up, that was what's up.
That was smooth.
And Triple H said afterwards that was improv. Snoop just did it.
Oh, really? I assume that was how it was going to end anyway.
That makes it that much better. He did better than most people on the fly could do who have been working. They'd be like, "Oh, what do we do now?" Snoop went in there as an entertainer.
Just because you even saw Miz, Miz is great. Miz is
always
excellent. But even he was just bouncing around the ring, like trying to think of what to do. And
they were talking through the ref back and forth, telling him, "Slug me, pow, knocked him out." Yeah. He laid down, give me the gimmick.
It was a good recovery. It was. I hate it for Shane, because I love Shane, but and another McMahon tears a quad. So
I thought it was his ACL at first, but God, do the McMahons know how to stretch?
It could be it. They're stretching.
Oh, it was his quads too.
Your quads, man. You stretch them out.
Brandon Hanks, by the way, he says, "Hey, Ronnie, it's been a long time." So
I can't hear you very well. What's the name?
Brandon Hanks. He said, "Hey, Ronnie, it's been a long time." And then, so the main event, we had Roman versus Cody. Cody was, supposed to finish the story. And I think a lot of us, I don't know about you, Johnny, we all thought Cody was probably going to be the guy that takes down, the one. Did not happen. How did you? I know how, because Ronnie and I watched it together. I know how we felt about it. What did you think?
It could have gone either way, but with the business being sold, I think they had to make the best business decision they could at this moment. So even if he was going to win up until the deal was being made or finalized with the company being sold, they have to go into this company with Roman as the champion. So I think it was done properly, and Cody can still build on this, so it's not over for him. And the showing that he put on will keep him at the level that's still main event.
Great match. Great psychology in the match. They definitely didn't rush it. They started slow. They definitely built it up. I enjoyed the match, and I thought it was great storytelling. And I thought Cody was going to win just because I thought that was the story they wanted to tell. But I'm not personally mad that Roman won. I kind of like that.
That seemed right.
I think that's a better story. It's a better adversity for Cody, because everybody thought it, even maybe Cody. Like, it was his story. He had it. He's doing it for Dusty. All these things. And boy, they just, like they did with the Brock and Undertaker, they were just like, they pulled that rug right out from under you. And I enjoyed that. I enjoy that swerve. I know a lot of people didn't.
I mean, putting the title on a guy that just came from another company not too long ago on it in his first Mania match in the main event probably wasn't the best idea. I could see him winning it in SummerSlam maybe, or somewhere down the road.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I think. Because even after the match, I even said, that's them not putting over AEW. Even though I picked Cody, thinking that maybe they would, because Cody was the WWE guy.
Yeah, I kind of thought they might too.
But that's a guy that he didn't just wrestle for AEW; he created AEW. So, and that's competition. Because Vince didn't put over Sting. So,
yeah,
Sting was
he left Triple H. Right.
Yeah. That's still, if if you think Vince is in charge or not, that's still WWE saying we are still the dominant wrestling world. And they are. I mean, you can't deny it.
I agree with you. But at the end of the day, I thought they had a great main event. I thought it was an emotional, good story, and I thought they did the right thing. And I think we'll find a little more out tonight. So we'll see how that plays out with Cody.
Yeah, agree. So, Ronnie, I'll go to you first. Final thoughts on WrestleMania 39?
It was really fun. I had a really good time. I enjoyed it.
It was a good time. Handsome Johnny Spade, any final thoughts on WrestleMania?
Blind Josh.
Yeah, Blind Josh, Smooth Johnny Spade, whatever you want to call me. So, for those of you that don't know, wrestling name Smooth Johnny Spade. My name's Josh. I am visually impaired now. That's why they call me Blind Josh. So, it was better than I expected it to be. I was pleased. I thought it was great. I thought everybody worked their ass off. Probably got a good payday, and it was well deserved. So, yeah, man, it was a great WrestleMania, and I hope everybody enjoyed it and this show.
Agreed. I thought I had fun. It's always fun for me. I thought this one was entertaining all the way through. Even some of the matches that were lackluster were still entertaining, and they built the show as they should have. So I had a good time. I'm excited to see Raw. I think we're 8 minutes into Raw.
Yeah. Oh.
We ran over a little bit late.
I got a DVR. I'm good.
Yeah, same. So we're gonna end this show, but we wanted to say thanks for coming back, watching Meat Magnets with myself and Smooth Johnny Spade. I call him Handsome Johnny Spade. And Ryan Jones as our special guest. So we're gonna we're gonna do this every week. We're gonna figure out a day, figure out a schedule, get our stuff together. But we just kind of wanted to do an impromptu show. It's WrestleMania. It's a good time to start. And now we're headed to Monday Night Raw. So, any last words for the viewers before we head out?
You're the best.
This is great. Love you guys. Be good. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on Heat Magnet. Bye-bye.
Yeah.